Welcome friends, welcome to the part 2 of the syllabus and strategy discussion series of the officers classes. I would like to thank the officers classes for giving me an opportunity for sharing with you all the syllabus and strategy for the IAS exam. So let's get started. The focus of this video will be on the preliminary exam and more precisely on the paper 1 of the preliminary exam, that is general studies. So what does UPSC says about paper 1? One thing on the right side which is being displayed is the syllabus of the paper 1 as per UPSC. It carries 7 points which are related to current events, history, geography, polity, economy, environment and ecology, and general science. The paper carries 100 questions of 2 marks each, and there is a negative marking, which is 1/3 of the marks allotted. That is, for every wrong answer, 2/3 marks will be deducted. So let's get started with the each part of the syllabus and its respective sources and strategy. We will start with history of India and Indian national movement. This part has historically been very important, keeping in mind that it carries roughly 20 to 25% weightage in one or the other form. If we further divide this particular point of history of India and Indian national movement, then we will find out that modern India, which is the history of India from 1757, which is the year in which Battle of Plassey was fought, to the 1947, the year in which India got independence, has been the major part within this portion. It carries up to a weightage of 10 to 12%, going up to 12% in many years. The second most important part, which has gained more prominence in the recent years, is the art and culture portion. Art and culture portion has been brought under the history of India part, in which historical arts, culture, architecture, and other forms of art like painting, dance, music have been asked under this head. Its weightage has normally hovered around 7 to 8%, and it has even went up to 10%. So this becomes a major portion and you need to give it proper attention. So how are we going to cover this great portion for our studies? First, you must study NCRTs. First of all, NCRT by Bipin Chandra named Modern India. This portion is going to cover broadly the issues carried in point 1 of trends and weightage. Secondly, you should also study the NCRTs of medieval India and ancient India, which have been seen in the recent years to carry many questions in the UPSC directly. Then we should cover only selected portions of modern India by Spectrum. As we know, and most of you would know, that Spectrum is a very thick book. Covering it from first page to the last page in detail is not going to be possible because of the time crunch in the UPSC preparation and the comprehensiveness of this book. Therefore, after reading Modern India by Bipin Chandra, covering selected portions from the Spectrum Modern India is going to be a good strategy. Next, for covering art and culture, you should always start with NCRT on Fine Arts of India, which is named An Introduction to Indian Art. Many people have tendency to directly jump onto the fourth resource, which is Indian Art and Culture by Nitin Singhania, but it is highly recommended that you start with NCRT so that your basics may be clear and you find it easier to cover Indian Art and Culture by Nitin Singhania. Now, these many books may look scary. Therefore, in the strategy portion, I would like to categorically mention that you have to cover this syllabus by continuous and steady coverage. If you think that you will cover all these portions quickly, then it is not going to happen. I would like to warn you from the very start. Therefore, this is one portion of the syllabus where you will have to be extremely steady, slowly covering all the portions, because this particular portion is asked from a range of books and you have to cover all these portions. Now, coming on to the second topic, which is geography. Geography has another has been another favorite of UPSC rankers because the questions related to geography which are asked in UPSC are extremely fundamental and concept based. Therefore, once your concepts get cleared, you are going to score extremely well in this portion. And this portion carries no less weightage than 15 to 20% every year. Therefore, you must gauge the importance of this portion and focus on the resources which have been mentioned in this slide. First, you must study the four NCRTs of 11th and 12th. These NCRTs are named India, People and Economy, which covers the human geography part of India, India Physical Environment, which covers physical geography of India, World Physical Geography and World Human Geography, which their name suggests that they cover physical geography and human geography of the world respectively. But these four NCRTs are going to augment your understanding to a large level. But to comprehensively cover this syllabus, you must also study GC Leong Certificate Physical and Human Geography. Together with these five books, your broad coverage of the geography will happen. Now, an important question comes that how you should cover the map portion, the atlas portion. Here, I would like to categorically and mention and very much emphasize that atlas maps should be used as a tool for your general studies. There is no key that you can always remember the atlas at very close to the final exam. This is going to be a bad strategy because you are neither going to understand how the atlas is read, nor you are going to be able to remember those things for actually delivering the result in the final exam. Therefore, you must always remember that maps, atlas is a tool for your study. Therefore, whenever you are studying the NCRTs, whenever you are studying the GC Leon, or whenever you are studying the newspaper, you must again and again refer to the atlas regarding the locations which have been talked about there. And this is going to slowly build up a knowledge portion in your brain, which is going to serve you well in the final examination. Finally, we all have a tendency to search for web content. Therefore, while mentioning selected YouTube videos and portions from India Yearbook as a critical resource for geography coverage, I would also like to caution you against depending too much on the YouTube videos and going for untrustworthy channels on the YouTube. Therefore, you must trust only the videos which have been uploaded by credible sources like National Geographic and meteorological channels. Now, moving on to the next part, which is Indian polity. Indian polity is important because the syllabus for the mains exam and the prelims exam have a broad overlap, and if you are able to do it well here, then you are going to be well prepared for the next stage of the examination. It carries a 15 to 20% weightage in the examination, and almost 10% questions are easy questions. Therefore, you can think about it as a scoring paper as far as UPSC prelims exams are concerned. And one advantage regarding the Indian polity is that its study material is well established and you do not need to think too much about it. For example, there are two critical resources here. One is NCRT on Indian polity and the Indian polity by Lakshmikant. You must read those books by heart and try to understand each and every word of these books. As we can understand from the legal nature of the very subject, you must pay attention to every word because every word has some legal interpretation. And if you are not able to understand that, then there will be gaps in your comprehension which are going to make you pay some price in the final exam. Therefore, it is strongly recommended that from a strategic perspective, you focus on the application and interpretation of constitutional legal provisions with examples. In this, we will come back onto it when we will study about the current affairs strategy for the UPSC prelims in the subsequent slide. But you must remember that without application and interpretation of the constitutional legal provisions, your preparation is going to be seriously undermined. One helpful way to compensate for that is to refer to the book Indian Constitution by P.M. Bakshi. The importance of this book is that it gives you original text of the Constitution with a lot of references. Therefore, referring to this book while reading from the Indian Polity by Lakshmikant is going to make your understanding very in depth. However, picking this book up and starting to read randomly is going to be a dangerous thing. Therefore, PM Bakshi must always be used as a reference book and not as a textbook. For a textbook purpose, Indian Polity by Lakshmikant and NCRT on Indian Polity remains the only resources for the UPSC prelims exam. Next, economy is a highly dynamic portion. In fact, it is said to be one of the most conceptually difficult and the most current based topic within the UPSC prelims because almost all the questions that are asked in economy are related in some way or the other to the current happenings. Therefore, this portion has been highly dynamic, keeping in mind the very recurrent and very dynamic nature of the reality. But this portion carries another 15 to 20% weightage. Therefore, it cannot be ignored, and a special strategy has to be made for this. The critical resources here are the NCRT of 11th and 12th, named India Economic Development and Macroeconomics. However, howsoever important from a conceptual perspective these two NCRTs may be, but these are not sufficient for keeping in mind the dynamic nature of this portion. Therefore, you have to augment these NCRTs with another sources, important of which are first Indian Economy by Ramesh Singh, or as many suggest, you can also use the Sri Ram IS notes. Then there is another important part here, which is latest economic survey and budget documents. You must realize that economic survey has become a extremely important resource for economic study in recent times. Economic survey carries discussions regarding all sectors of the economy and also the recent issues in the economy. Therefore, reading economic survey comprehensively, paying attention to the analysis that it does, paying attention to the data it shares with you is going to be a mammoth exercise, and you should give full 15 days for the coverage of economic survey for reading it comprehensively. I realize that many students who start preparing for UPSC exam do not have a science or commerce background. Therefore, for them, it becomes extremely important not to ignore the graphs and the figures which are shared with regards to Indian economy. In fact, many a time in the recent UPSC exams, the trends regarding the key economic figures like inflation, GDP, and industry measures have been asked. Therefore, you must keep a tab on the trends that how different indicators of the economy are performing and what has been their trend in the recent years. And simultaneously, you must focus on the contemporary policy debate because the ideas of the past are never applicable in the economy. Economy is a mix of science and humanities. Therefore, contemporary knowledge becomes extremely important, which is going to be supplemented by your studies of the basics as done by the NCRTs and the Ramesh Singh book. And the current part is going to be augmented by the economic survey and budget documents. Next, moving on to the ecology and environment part. It is a relatively new part because it was not asked in such depth almost a decade ago, but in recent years it has assumed very great significance. The significance lies in the fact that almost 10% weightage of questions going up to 15% along with the current affairs related environment issues, this portion is going to be has been found to be a deciding factor for many UPSC candidates. But the good thing about this portion is that standard texts have emerged for the study of the ecology and environment. The one good book regarding this portion is Ecology and Environment by Shankar IS Academy, and also the selected chapters from the 12th class biology NCRT, which covers a lot of topic regarding environment, population, ecosystems, etc. But one point which you must note here is that it is an extremely scientific topic. You must not try to mug up the facts or try to remember them and reproduce them in the exam. Therefore, focusing on understanding concepts in the context of contemporary environment debate becomes crucial here. For example, climate change issues and related Paris Agreement have gained attention in our times. Therefore, focusing on the basics of climate change, what is the mechanism of climate change, what are the related factors, and how they act in the manner that they do. All these questions become important from a conceptual point of view, and you should not be limited to remembering the facts. Therefore, ecology and environment should be tackled from a conceptual perspective first so that you can understand everything that follows in a smooth manner. Now, general science. General science has often eluded many people, and many candidates have done the mistake of ignoring it, thinking that only students with science background will be able to do it. Therefore, I would like to clarify the myth from the very start that general science portions which are asked in the UPSC are not beyond the 10th class level. Therefore, if you are focused on your NCRTs properly, if you are covering the science portions of the newspapers properly, then this portion can be actually an advantageous portion for you rather than your weakness. This portion carries a weightage of 7 to 12%, and most of the questions are not highly conceptual questions like quantum mechanics or quantum electrodynamics, but they are more focusing on the latest technologies and, more importantly, the application of technologies, not technology itself. Therefore, if you are able to understand how some technologies are applied and what is their potential, you need not go into the technology specific issues. For this, you must try to focus on the weekly science pages. There is no solution but to cover the weekly science pages, because if you start by reading some science books, then it is going to take a lot of time and it is going to waste your effort. Therefore, reading the newspaper science page every week with religious devotion is going to accumulate your knowledge regarding the scientific developments and ultimately going to help you in the final exam. Another important theme which has emerged is the study of recent Nobel Prizes. For this, you can try to find out the Nobel Prize winners in the last 5 years and try to understand the science behind them, which is very well covered in the newspapers and science magazines. You can just search them on the internet and study about them. And in our opinion, this is going to be very much sufficient. Then some basics should be covered from the NCRTs, which can be found in the 6th and 7th class NCRTs, which are related to cell structure and pathogens. Now, again, you should not waste too much time on technical details, as UPSC says that it is general science. It is not your expertise. Your expertise on the subject is not demanded. You are only expected to know what an educated citizen would know in the matters of science without going into the technical details. I hope I'm very clear on that. Now, finally, the elephant in the room, which is the current affairs. Current affairs has been a big headache to the new aspirants in the process, and young aspirants have a tendency to waste a lot of time on the current affairs. So I would like to clarify the myth for once and all that the current affairs typical weightage is only 10%, and the maximum which it has gone to is 17% in civil services exam 2016. So if you are going to spend a disproportionate amount of time on current affairs, then it can be counterproductive. But there is one way in which current affairs can help you in your preparation of other subjects. And I would like to categorically mention it that it is the backward linkage. Backward linkage becomes so crucial in the UPSC examination, as I will discuss just now. What is backward linkage? The backward linkage is to study the current affairs event and linking it back to the basics of all the subjects that we have been covering till now. For example, COVID-19 pandemic is one of the recent events that is highly in news, but it is related to one of the subjects in our UPSC syllabus. For example, it is related to the polity. For example, there is Disaster Management Act, there is fiscal federalism. It is also related to the economy because the GDP has come down, unemployment has risen. Similarly, the environment and ecology part, that why epidemics or pandemics have become more frequent. We had Ebola pandemic, we had MERS, we had SARS, and now we have COVID. And the science portion, for example, what is virus, what is immunization, how does it work? So this backward linkage can help you revise your basics on a daily basis. So think about the newspaper as a means to revise your syllabus every day. This becomes extremely important because if you are not able to revise, then there is very little possibility that you are going to do well in the final exam. So think about the newspaper with its backward linkage as a means to revise your syllabus daily. Then next, monthly magazine. Monthly magazine is issued by many institutions, and you can pick any one of them. I think most of them are doing fine, and study it religiously so that you keep abreast with most of the developments. But most important of them all are the Yojana and Kurukshetra. This becomes very important because these are published by government sources and they carry articles by already serving civil servants. So they, in a way, present the perspectives from inside the government and help you take a very moderate and balanced view regarding the happenings. Then following PRS legislative and PIB is going to help you keep abreast with the latest events. And one critical resource which I would like you to follow from the very start is the Big Picture program on Rajya Sabha TV or Rajya Sabha YouTube channel. The Big Picture program brings several experts from several fields come together and have a very balanced discussion about the issues which are facing India today. Therefore, it will help you build an opinion about your things without getting affected by the false journalism, which is very probable that you may fall prey to fake news or other things. Therefore, for a balanced picture, following Big Picture on the Rajya Sabha TV is a good means. So this way we have covered all the points in the UPSC preliminary paper 1 exam. And I hope you will follow the strategy and meet the success at your doors. In the next video, we are going to talk about the civil services aptitude test, another important event which has made many young aspirants suffer because they could not qualify for the paper 1 testing because they could not breach the 33% limit which is put on the CSET exam. So looking forward to meet you in the next video. Till then, good luck and thanks for watching.